Good afternoon. No, I've really made a hash of that. Please forget what I've just said to you. Good morning, and welcome to this magnificent sunrise here in the western fringes of the Kruger National Park. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Well, I suppose it is good afternoon to some of you somewhere in the world, hopefully, perhaps in Fiji. I think it's probably the afternoon there. Good morning again to all of you. It's lovely to have you with us here on this chilly morning, 60 degrees Fahrenheit or so, 16 degrees Celsius. For that, at least for us, that's it's quite cold. It's not freezing. Let me not try and make you feel sorry for us. It's a lovely spring morning. My name is James Henry. On camera today is David. There's a beautiful cycling gloves, David. Well done. Or they're skateboarding gloves? Just cycling gloves. Yes, David looks like a skateboarder, you see, everybody. On the other vehicle, Jamie Patterson is driving around. She's heading towards where Herbert has already found Tingana and his consort, Shadow. We're going to head down to where Karula had her kill yesterday. I doubt there's anything left there. The fighting that was going on over it probably has resulted in it being dropped onto the ground, stolen by hyenas, or perhaps stolen by the wild dogs. I just thought I heard or saw something there. Okay, so that's the plan for the morning. And in case you didn't see or weren't with us yesterday, an unbelievable sighting yesterday of 5 leopards we had at the tree where Karula had treed an adult impala. Just nearby, Tingana was mating with Shadow. The 2 cubs were there, and then Tingana got whiff of the kill and he moved towards there. Karula and Shadow had a fight with each other. The cubs disappeared. Then a hyena arrived. Then, at the end of the drive yesterday, as Jamie will share with you, I've no doubt, wild dogs pitched up and put the the leopards up into the trees. We don't know where the cubs have gone, so let's head straight across to Jamie, who is with the Shadow and the Tingana.
Good morning and welcome to an incredible start to the Sunrise Safari, and already we have 2 leopards wandering off into the distance, Shadow and Tingana. I'm going to fill you in a little bit as to what happened yesterday and the drama that we had. But for now, let's just try and keep up with them. They're going into a very, very difficult area. Sure, this is where it gets tricky. There's a good chance that we could lose them in this particular block. But what a way to start. Good morning to you. Oh, goodness. My name is Jamie, and this morning I have Brian on camera with me. And of course the Thumb attached as well, but a little bit occupied right now. Well done, Thumb, making an appearance despite the tricky situation. Now, yesterday, dramatic scenes on our sunset safari, from Tingana and Shadow popping in to steal the lovely Queen of Djuma's kill. We have no idea where the cubs went. Then there was a hyena on the scene, and then there was 3 wild dogs on the scene, completely unexpected. They came racing out of nowhere just as we were finishing off the sunset safari. All in all, made for an incredibly exciting drive. And I'll tell you a little bit, because Dave and myself stayed there for a little while after the end of the sunset safari, after it got too dark, just sitting and listening. And I'll tell you, oh my goodness, deja vu. I've done this before with this pair in this particular area. There's quite a few elephants around as well. I thought I saw some. Just pop us here for a second. So James, I know, is heading to where the kill was last seen. We don't know what happened to the kill. Most likely, we going to mate? Shadow's trying to seduce him, but Tingana, he's on the mood to move as quickly as possible. So we don't know what happened to the kill. Last night, Tingana was sitting precariously perched on top of the marula, enjoying his stolen impala that was Karula's. So there's much confusion here, and for new viewers, I'm very sorry because it's all very complicated, and I will explain to you exactly how the dynamics all work in a moment. Watch out there, Brian. I want to whip you. There you go. Oh, this is landmine territory. Not actual landmines, obviously, just to clarify. I mean aardvark holes. So what we have here for new viewers is a mating pair of leopards. Now, typically leopards will mate regularly and frequently at this time of morning, but I think that Tingana's on his way somewhere, and as a result it doesn't have the time or the energy for Shadow's attentions. Shadow, by the way, now back, there's old vehicle tracks here, now back in her territorial area rather than Karula's, which she was in yesterday. This is going to hurt. Hold on, everyone. Oh, not so bad. Shadow desperately trying to get his attention, and Tingana just not playing ball. They're going straight into a really tricky area. Tingana stopping to mark. Not even mark, actually, just relieve himself. He's not scraping his feet. We're going into a wall of monkey orange in a moment, but we're okay for now. Oh, Shadow's flopped down. This is how mating leopard courtship works. The male wanders around and the female follows along behind him, attempting to sort of kittishly rub herself up against him. He's busy marking his territory. Up she gets, and there she goes after him. Okay. Let's catch up with our spots disappearing off into the bushes. And then, of course, I'm sure you're all wondering about Karula and her cubs. Since yet, Karula, by the way, for new viewers, is the mother of this female leopard that we're with at the moment. And she was involved in the sighting yesterday in a big way as well. And I will explain a little bit more to you in a moment, and I'm sure James will be able to help you out with a summary of yesterday as well, since he was also involved in the whole sighting. So let's head across to him for now while I attempt to catch up with these cats.
Is that not glorious, everybody? Look at that African sun just come up over the horizon in a blazing ball of copper and orange. Oh, stunning. Now, while you look at that, I'm just going to tell you where we are. We've come to the position where the cubs and Karula and the kill were yesterday morning. Herbert is around here on foot. He's just trying to ascertain from the tracks what's gone on here during the night. Very difficult to tell. Shadow obviously quite severely injured at this stage. Don't worry, they are so resilient, I don't think it's going to have that much of a deleterious effect on her. But we are going to go and check the southern boundary while Herbert fossicks about here in the block and tries to see what he can find. Isn't that just the most stunning picture? He's pointing towards the south. Is Herbert telling us that perhaps they have gone excuse me, towards the southern boundary? There, you're going to get a picture of Herbert going through the rising sun as he goes off to see if perhaps he can't find those wonderful leopards for us. Very nice, David. You're very artistic. Thank you. Yes, well, you know. Okay, we're going to do pretty much what Herbert's doing now, with a little bit more decorum, because of course Herbie is able to go off at a great and vast speed, while we, with you on the back, must drive with a little bit more decorum. A quite astounding day, as I said yesterday, and also we had, of course, the little lion cubs and the rest of the lions being chased by elephants from the damn pan, which was quite amusing. There's now, of course, a very awkwardly placed stick in the way. Okay, let's go back to Jamie with the leopards, and we'll see if we can find the others.
What a beautiful scene first thing in the morning. Shadow's so funny. She's sort of half walking and half swinging her hips into him as she walks along. Look how distressed Tingana looks. I think he wants to put as much space between himself and those wild dogs. See, he is not interested in her attentions at all. They've been spotted by the impala. For those of you hearing those sharp calls, that's impala alarm calling at the presence of the leopard. See how Tingana is constantly stopping, looking back over his shoulder. So the female's instinct is to mate with the male, no matter what. His instinct is to get out of dodge, so to speak, and away from those wild dogs. Obviously the kill has been lost. Otherwise he would still be there. Isn't he beautiful? Sorry everybody for the coughing. Alright, hold on tight. We're almost at the boundary of Arathusa, which will mean relatively soon that it is the end of our sighting, since there are other vehicles that will want to come and join us. I have let the guides in the west know. Oh my goodness gracious. Merrily, I'm sorry about all of the noise and the drama as we go through here. Yes, Shadow and Tingana have mated before many times. We've been able to witness it. In terms of offspring, we actually think that there's a very good chance. Watch out there, Brian, that's going to hurt you. It's got thorns. Oh my goodness, you ready? We actually think that Tingana was the father of at least Shadow's previous cub, as well as Sindile, the young male with the collar around his neck and an interesting tale to tell. I'm just trying to get onto the Game Drive channel. Quick, let's get around. Let's go onto the road. We'll have a clearer spot there, quite literally. There we go. Sean, we're a bit further north than Zebra Drive Junction. Keep coming north along Triple M. Oh, there's a hippo. There was a hippo. It's all happening here on Triple M. Oh, they've just popped out now.
Are you on Triple M now, Jamie?
A firm, just about to cross. Oh my goodness, right on top of the vehicle.
The north is Zebra Drive there, I'm on my way.
Ducking my head down to try and move out of the way.
They're going to be leaving the local Madonna Combi smelling around here.
And off they go slowly. Not slowly, actually. I mean, for leopards, this is pretty highly mobile right now. Tingana's stopping to sniff at the branches every now and again. And just not interested in the attentions that Shadow is attempting to bestow upon him. Okay, let's go a little further. Now keep coming, they've crossed here.
now from Djuma, very close to Nat.Geo, turn off their mobile straight west.
This is so interesting. Tingana very clearly. Oh, here come hyenas, here come hyenas. Tingana's up the tree, Shadow's racing away. That was... No wonder he was so on the move, that's why. They've been busy chased by hyenas. Let me move across for Sean. Amazing! There goes Cheetah. There goes Shadow racing off, being chased by the hyena. Tingana's up in the tree. Here comes another hyena racing along. Unbelievable! These days have just been absolutely phenomenal. Where's Shadow? There she goes. She's coming back this way now. Oh, and she's up in the tree. And there she is, safe and sound. Poor Shadow. She has not had a very good last 2 days between the wild dogs and the hyenas. And once again we found ourselves in a familiar position, just like the end of the sunset safari, with 2 leopards in a tree. Chased up by, in this case, 3 hyenas. No wonder they were so constantly on the move. Awesome. And that was an incredible ascent. Well done, Brian. As Tingana bounced his way up.
It's being persecuted by several hyenas. I think one-on-one, this massive male wouldn't worry about a little fluffy one like that. He'll just smack it in the face one time.
That was absolutely awesome. About 3 hyenas racing towards him. Tingana not impressed, but not terribly concerned. This probably happens on a... Oh, there we go.
Currently 2 on dock. We've got 2 English, 2 different insignias with lots of NPC punts.
I'm going to sit happily on my branch and look comfortable, like this is all just par for the course in the morning of the life of Tingana. Hello, gorgeous.
Alrighty, there'll be a standby 1 for you if you control the lineup. If there are any changes, I'll keep you all updated. Still the best approach, just off Nat.Geo turn off.
And Chris Rogue, I'm absolutely with you. Personally, I think our hyena clan really are coming back. So apparently it was Corky last night that was involved with that particular sighting. And I'm sorry, I can't reposition at the moment without blocking off Sean's view completely. There's Shadow, perched precariously. She didn't get such a nice tree. She got a silver cluster leaf, which is not as comfortable as the marula that Tingana has found himself in. Tingana is nothing if not resourceful and very good at looking after himself. Now, Chris is right. It feels as though our hyenas are definitely making a comeback. It was Corky there yesterday at the sighting with Shadow, Tingana and Karula. Giving himself a gentle lick. What an incredible start to our morning safari. Tingana racing up trees, hyenas chasing them. Absolutely amazing. One-on-one, Tingana would be more than capable of tackling one of those hyenas. He is absolutely massive, powerful head and shoulders. They would have been no threat to him. But all 3 of them, possibly even more, I only saw 3, but there could have been more. And he decided that discretion was the better part of valor, and up he went into the tree, in a truly dignified fashion, as we've come to expect from Tingana, whenever he's going up a tree. He's got slightly more bulk than our agile leopards. So we do have limited time with these particular leopards. We're going to be pulling out as soon as the next vehicle decides to come into the sighting. But nevertheless, an extraordinary way to start off the morning. Just going to quietly have a nap here, looking beautiful in the rising sun. Deja vu, Brian. Except with a male this time. Yesterday it was Karula. Doesn't get more beautiful than this. Sure. Lois in Buffalo. No, unfortunately there haven't been any more reports on Shadow's cub. I'm actually sitting with Sean from Arathusa right now, so I might have a chat with him afterwards about what we think has happened with Shadow's cub. It's not looking good, I'm afraid. She hasn't been seen in a considerable period of time, and this is now the second time that we've seen Shadow mating with Tingana. It seems as though Shadow tends to go into estrus or false estrus faster or sooner than your average female leopard. We don't know why that may be, but it might be one of the explanations behind why she's been relatively unsuccessful as a mother. She's going to come down and come back to Tingana. That's how strong that instinct is. Careful, careful, careful. Gently does it. Beautifully done. So no reports on Shadow's cub. I mean, Shadow's little cub is a month younger than Karula's, which means that she doesn't have much in the way of resources. She's not independent. She's not really capable of looking after herself yet. And the fact that Mom has left her now for days at a time doesn't look good. It might also be that she lost her cub through other means. I'm hoping that's not the case, but it is possible. She might have lost her cub for another reason, and she's come straight back into false estrus, which happens with all female leopards. They come back into estrus very quickly. There she goes, jumping down. I can't reposition at the moment just because of the view. Come on, girl. She's going to make her way towards... I'm sure she's going to make her way back towards Tingana. We saw it yesterday as well. Karula chased her away. And yet, despite Karula desperately unhappy with Shadow being in her territory, Shadow still kept coming back and pushing back towards Tingana. It's a very, very powerful instinct that they have. Is she on her way? Here she goes. Come on, girl. Where have you gone? Oh, there she's coming. Now, Andrew would like to know how many times a leopard mates before falling pregnant. Depends upon the leopard, but as you know, their fertilization is essentially, or their ovulation at least, is stimulated by repeated mating. Here comes Shadow now. So the initial couple of 100 times will not result in fertilization, and then sort of right in the middle of the mating session, then the female will start to ovulate and fall pregnant. But there's no specific number. We just know that leopards mate a lot. So do lions, but leopards mate roughly every 15 minutes, depending on the temperature. Early in the morning, like this morning, they could have mated every 2 minutes or so, like we saw yesterday. Once again attempting to seduce him, and once again he's up in a tree, making Shadow's life very difficult here. She glances up longingly. Just her tail twitching in slight irritation. She definitely didn't get any of that impala kill yesterday. She doesn't have a full belly. She's actually looking quite thin. Settled down at the base of the marula tree, waiting for the gentleman to come down at some point, although he's not giving any indication that that's his plan. Tingana always seems to have a certain sort of resignation whenever he approaches these mating sessions, and today appears to be no different. He is in absolutely no hurry to jump down the tree and rejoin her. He's quite happy where he is. Look at that dewlap. That thick flap of skin underneath his throat. And there she goes again. Glancing up at him longingly. Shame. And Marianne, yes, it has been recorded that 2 females in estrus have sought out the same male at the same time. They don't fight over him. Essentially, well, they can. It's unusual. Some of the most serious leopard fights that I've ever seen or heard of have been between 2 females, usually unrelated. But most of the time... Oh, there's a hyena coming back. Oh, hold on, let's just see. I think Shadow's going to go up. She's trying to get out of the way of the hyena. Let's just see how this plays out. Sorry, Marianne, I'll get back to your question. Shadow, I don't know that that's going to work. I don't think there's enough space in that tree for mating. She's watching the hyenas moving about in the distance. It's so good to see them as well. It's been a long time since we've had a proper hyena sighting. And it's all happening here at the moment. Skulking. There's skulking. So is Shadow, actually. Skulking at the bottom of the tree.
These hyenas aren't very lucky. They didn't get to eat the giraffe.
And speaking of our favourite spotted creatures, or one of our favourite spotted creatures, we've got 2 here. Laura, you want to know why the hyenas keep bothering the leopards. It is just what they do. Those are sub-adults, or young hyenas that came sprinting through. And having probably finished off what was left of that impala, they've gone sort of back to a pastime of entertaining themselves, playing Terrorize the Cat, kind of like cats and dogs do. There's no serious intention behind it, although if they did get hold of Shadow, they could do her some serious damage, but most of the time, the predators don't come into major conflict. Leopards are very good at avoiding, as you can see. She knows the 2 hyenas are coming back, and she's off. Looking back behind her. They're bullying her today. Shame, Shadow. It hasn't been a good few days for you, has it? Looking back anxiously, she doesn't have a big tree to get into except the one that Tingana's in, and he's not budging. Okay, she's gonna wait there. Let's see what's gonna happen. So they're doing this for entertainment, Laura. They're smart, they're curious, and they're bored. And it's nice and cool this morning. Now, are they going to realize they're walking straight past a leopard? Shadow's not sticking around to find out. Oh, there it goes. Hyena tail up and excited, and Shadow disappearing off. She won't be gone for long. She'll be up the next tree, and the hyenas will lose interest, and she'll come back for Tingana. Absolutely incredible. What a sighting. Those of you who are better placed to identify these hyenas, if you could let me know which ones you think they are, I'd love to hear about it. It's been ages since I saw our hyena clan properly. Having a good sniff up the tree. Sorry, buddy. Tingana's just a little bit out of reach. And he knows it. Look at that expression on his face. Positively smug. This is not Tingana's first rodeo. There's some amazing predator interaction. Hyenas are, depending on whether it's a female or a male leopard, generally hyenas are stronger and more robust than a leopard. Excuse me. And have the advantage of numbers. Leopards, as solitary creatures, would much prefer to avoid the conflict. but it's not uncommon to see them right next to each other, lying up maybe a couple of meters away, like we saw yesterday on the sunset safari. It's all in the body language and the intent of the animal. These young hyenas clearly showing that they want to harass the leopards, and the leopards not keen to give them that opportunity. I will say it's been a particularly bad few hours for Shadow, between the wild dogs and the hyenas. And Sandy, no, Tingana would not warn Shadow one little bit if the hyenas came by, or the wild dogs, unless of course she was watching his body language carefully, in which case she might pick up cues from them. Tingana is interested in one thing and one thing only, in terms of priorities, and that is his own survival and well-being. So as much as we'd like to think that there is some altruistic and protective instinct to him, there absolutely is not. He will be the first to take the best position up the tree, as we saw yesterday. Well, we say best position, he was thoroughly uncomfortable yesterday, but he wanted to make sure that nobody else got the kill. And he will be the first out of the way as soon as the hyenas come a-calling, or the wild dogs, or whatever it happens to be. Whilst he bears Shadow no ill will, nor Karula, nor any of the others, he also is not going to put himself out or risk his life to try and protect them. And Andrew, Shadow will wait for as long as it takes for her man to come down. Unlike Tingana, she is very interested in regaining his attentions, and she'll wait, and she'll wait, and she'll wait, and she'll wait, and he can't escape her forever. At some point he's got to come down the tree, and then she will resume her attentions in terms of battering him in the face with her tail. She will wait for as long, unless another male comes along. Margaret's sharing a thought, which is perhaps Tingana is saying, "Thank you, hyenas, for distracting Shadow and allowing him a brief respite from her attentions." It's not the first time I've felt that about Tingana. There was one time when we were sitting at Red Dam, and the Tingana Pride chased Karula and Tingana in opposite directions. Oh, settled down. Very comfortable. And yes, exactly the same thing. Tingana took the opportunity to disappear as far away as possible. And now he's settled in a much more comfortable marula tree than the one that we saw him in yesterday. We're going to have to jump onto the Game Drive channel and probably... Oh, look at that, that's beautiful. Sure, that's beautiful. Probably going to have to move out of the sighting at some point. So while I hop on and discuss logistics, let's go across to James and find out how his morning is heading.
Good morning again, everyone. What an astounding time you've been having of it. We did see some elephant, but they went into a very thick block, and we did find tracks of Karula and the cubs, and they've definitely gone south of the property, and so now we're heading towards where the Nkuhuma Pride killed their last buffalo. We're going to see if they're around there. We've had no tracks yet. We would quite possibly lose David now on this black monkey thorn. David, you do not want to be caught by this tree. It will be very unpleasant for you. You will cry like a wounded child. Yes, there's David's begloved hand. No, you won't be able to... Ooh, that's very brave.
I think it'll be alright.
Jandre got 2 thorns stuck in his arm yesterday, David. He cried. I had to tell him to man up. Anyway, Herbert's gone back to where the old kill site was. Taxon is knocking about on the Gowrie cut line where the very large jackalberry tree is. There's a waterbuck, David, a magnificent fellow, basking in the early morning sun. Unfortunately, he is very afraid of you and is now leaving. Followed closely by 2 Birchall starlings, his only friends in the world. Wait for us, says Benji, the Birchall starling.
Sun on Hyena Road.
Isn't that nice? Look how beautifully coloured they are. This feels like the kind of morning one should stop and listen and contemplate. Some very nice bird songs. Not very loud, but it's spread all over the place. I'm just listening to the radio in my ear. Oh, and lovely calls of southern boo-boo. Oh, isn't that lovely? Babblers. Crested barbets. Babblers. Oh, and my first white-bellied sunbird of the season. Chip, 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 brrr, chip, 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 brrr. And of course the chin spot bettis. Right, from the birds to the leopard. Let's go and see what's going on with that astounding sighting.
And Shadow is back once again, playing the patience game. She came along purring away, and has now settled down at the base of the marula tree, in the sun, just waiting, patiently waiting, for Tingana to decide whether or not he's actually going to be bothered to come down the tree. We've just been chatting to Sean. We're not sure about whether or not Shadow has lost her cub. We're just going to have to wait and see. So for new viewers, Shadow has had, I'm not sure which tense to use, a 6-month-old little female cub, beautiful little thing. And she hasn't been seen in about 2.5 weeks. Typically when a female is mating again, it's not a very good sign, but animals don't read textbooks, and we just have no idea. So we'll have to wait and see. We probably won't know for a considerable period of time for certain. And we'll all just have to keep hoping that the cub is still around. She's taking the opportunity to have a good clean. Awesome. Thank you very much to Chris Rogue, who says that Bella is one of the ones that was bugging them. So Bella, the son of the matriarch of our hyena clan, the sub-adult son, was one of the ones that popped Tingana up in the tree. Makes total sense. Little band of troublemakers is what we had there. Oh, here he comes. Yes, no, maybe. Can he be bothered? He's got a nice full belly. There we go. Come on, boy. Just going to scratch the top of my head on the tree. Shadow's watching his every move. I can hear her low, seductive purring emanating from where she's lying. She's hopeful. Perhaps now with the hyenas gone, he might be more receptive to her advances. He's listening to her as well. He is magnificent. He is absolutely massive. Very solid male leopard. Come on, boy. Here we go. Here we go. Maybe not. Maybe later. Make your way in. Station on first standby for Whakapakati Ingwe.
Good morning, Jamie.
Morning, make your way. I'll pull out when you get here.
Hey, Jamie, I just want to confirm a south of Nopon link, huh?
There he goes. Clunk. Not quite as graceful as the dainty Karula or Shadow. Here she goes, straight in. That's affirmative.
Harassment, eh?
He is not interested. He could not be less bothered by her attentions.
Did we come in? Oh. And over to you there, with Ryan.
And off they go. Okay. We're not going to be following them any further. We're going to make space for some of the other vehicles, so we're going to say goodbye to Sean and the other vehicles and head off on our way. We'll get an update as to how it goes and whether or not Shadow ever manages to seduce him. And while we negotiate our way out of here, let's head back across to James.
Great news! The lions, everybody, are at the kill site from whence they came yesterday for their drink. We're heading there at a great speed. I'm not sure exactly who's there. Herbert went to have a quick look and there they were. I'm quite surprised, I must say, because I didn't think there was even a morsel left on that carcass. But anyway, we'll go and have a look and we'll take what we can get. The more time we spend with those little cubbies, the happier we shall become in our hearts, David. Don't you think? Yes. It does warm the cockles to be around little cubs. So we'll go and see what we can find, take some rank average pictures, while David films with great skill. And we might stop for the odd bird such as that Simitarbill over there on the top of the tree. Now that's not one that we see very often, and they make such a lovely call. And it's called a Simitarbill, David, because it has a Bill, yes, well done. Simitarbill because it has a scimitar-shaped bill. There it is, in all its scimitarous glory. Opening and closing. Now that bill, everybody, is probing. It's used for sticking into sort of gaps in the bark in trees and the odd hole that's been dug by a woodpecker or a wood-boring beetle. And the Simitarbill will pull out the grubs and other invertebrates that it can find underneath the bark. Oh, and it was quite chilly this morning. Alright, let's go across to Jamie. She's got some hyenas to show you.
Our trio of troublemakers slowly making their way along the boundary between Arathusa and Djuma. I'm on Chris Rogue's page. I think a very thorough check of the hyena dens at some point soon is definitely in order, because I think our hyena clan is back in town. All the signs point that way. We had the beautiful whooping sounds over the last few evenings, something that has been largely absent from our lives in the last few months. And look at this, don't they just look like trouble? Doesn't that image just say naughty? The way they're wandering along. They've had a good evening, probably got to scoff up the last bits of poor Karula's impala kill. And now the three... We need a name for them, this little trio. Definitely a trio of mischief. Wait for me, guys. Awesome. So Bella, for those of you who are new to our hyena clan... Oh, goodness gracious, that was a bit loud. Sorry about that. Let's catch up with them a little bit before they disappear completely, although this is an awesome image. So Bella, as the son of the matriarch, is in an interesting position. For new viewers, hyena are probably the only truly matriarchal society in terms of all mammals in at least South Africa. The females are larger, more dominant, they've got higher levels of testosterone, and even the lowest ranking female in a hyena clan is higher than the male. But the son of the matriarch has an interesting position because he's inherited something of her status, and they very often stick around and become a crucial part. Look at that, isn't that cool? 1, 2, 3. Just trundling along, seeing what else we can get into. The 3 amigos. I like that. You know what they look like? They look like wannabe teenage hoodlums. All encouraged by each other. You know what I mean? That sort of boisterous behavior brought on by social company and pressure. Oh, off onto Arathusa. Brave decision. I hear the clan of Elephant Plains, the enormous hyena clan, is currently on a giraffe kill just outside of our boundary. Let's go catch up with them. This is cool. And they're about to cross, so we'll try and stick with them for now. I'm really, really hoping that our hyenas are back on Djuma once again. We've had so much good luck recently. I don't even know what to talk about at this point. We've had leopards up trees, we've had wild dogs, everything is happening. I know that Herbert is very focused on tracking down Karula and her lovely cubs to find out how they are after the evening's scuffles and activities. It's definitely been one for the books for them, and a learning curve for them. I don't think any of us are hugely worried about Karula's cubs. I think they're old enough and smart enough now, and they've had some good lessons from Mom to teach them to stay well out of reach of things like wild dogs and hyenas. And as I said, it's all happening with the predators on Djuma at the moment. Let's go back over to James and his lovely lioness.
Now everyone, there is Amber Eyes, and she's heading towards the kill site. But what's interesting here is that she's actually on the tracks of some buffalo bulls. Yes, thank you, Louise. I know it's Amber Eyes. That's why I said here's Amber Eyes. I'm slightly confused as to what's going on. I'm just thinking, I don't know that we'll follow her through here. I think she's heading straight back towards the kill site. We can try and get through here, I suppose. No, we're not. You know what? It's too rough in here, and she's just going straight towards the kill site. So I don't think we're going to follow her. I'm going to go towards the kill. There were some buffalo going down that way, but obviously she's not going to try and kill a buffalo on her own. Although it is Amber Eyes, of course, one doesn't know. I'll just quickly call that in. Stations, I think this lioness is moving towards the kill. I'm not going to follow her through this thick block. I'm going to go straight towards Herbert. And Herbie is just in here at the kill site. This is Hyena Road now, heading obviously east given the blinding sun, and then it will turn to the north and we will turn down to the west towards the drainage to get past this rather thick area here. Alright, let's go back to Jamie and her hyena.
Our trio of troublemakers, or the 3 amigos, or however you want to refer to them as, have just come through to the Triple M latrine, one that we're very familiar with, and one that I think demarcates the boundary between the 2 different clans of this area. So what I mean by that is a latrine. It's basically like one giant hyena toilet. But it serves a more important purpose than that. It's kind of like hyena Facebook as well. They deposit their scat there, and they also were doing some regular anal pasting, which is something that sets hyenas apart from our other big carnivores. Now they're moving into a very thick area, so we won't be able to follow them here. But it is interesting just to see the role that sub-adults play in terms of marking their territory, because a latrine is a very, very important marker in terms of hyena clan life. Here comes Shanae. There you go, that's the latrine. Markings around there. Oh, flowers. Spring is here. How lovely. It's a little bit of a contrast there, isn't it? Have some hyena scat and also some flowers. Happy spring. Beautiful. Now, hyena scat turns white, obviously, and crumbly as a result of their diet. Makes total sense. They eat bones. Bones have calcium. Calcium goes white. Ergo, you've got white powdery scat as the end product of your digestion. This entire area is covered in a pile of hyena scat. Let's just say hello to Shanae quickly. Has she got space to move around me? She definitely does. Here we go. How's it, Chris? How are you? Hey, Shanae.
How are you guys?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Good morning. Go right ahead. Enjoy. Cheers. Oh, the lovely Shanae from Nkuhuma, who many of you, of course, will be familiar with. Excuse me. Right, so, just to give you a sort of an overview, there are so many hyena scats here. Lots and lots of them, all piled up. Kind of like somebody's been dropping piles of white paint at this point. And if we were to get out and investigate, we would be able to find the patchings of hyena pastings. That's very important. If you ever find yourself with a guide that goes and plucks a blade of grass with a hyena pasting, that you point out that the hyena put it there very deliberately for a very good reason. And that anal paste contains details of all kinds of things, like the sex of the hyena, their status, their reproductive status. It's very important to them, and by picking up that blade of grass and moving it, you've actually upset the apple cart. It's essentially like hacking their social media account. Oh, look, isn't that lovely? There is a lovely imagery that comes with that. Beautiful. Yay, the flowers are coming back. Okay, perhaps we have now, I think, completed our tour of the hyena scat. You get the idea. So the only time we will show you hyena anal pasting is during a bushwalk, where we will be able to take the camera up to it rather than going to collect a blade of grass like that. As we go past our piles of white excrement, yes, John, hyena scat is a very, very important part of their supplement of calcium for quite a few different animals in terms of their diet, but the one that springs to mind immediately, it's one of the reasons why you should always be a little bit hesitant about picking up tortoises, is because tortoises and terrapins will go and snack upon the scat of hyenas, so will the other reptile species and even some birds, including vultures. And the reason that they do that is, of course, especially during breeding season, they need the calcium for their eggshells. What is happening here? It must be the hyenas again. I'm right at that corner where I have to switch radio channels between several different types. Yeah, it's the hyenas. Ooh, I've still got my lights on. So hyenas are very, very important creatures. Apart from their rubbish collecting, not collecting, but their rubbish disposal function that they serve, their scat provides very important sources of calcium for different creatures. Who have we got here? It looks like Aubrey. No, definitely not. How's it, man? How are you? Hi, guys. Hyena passed here. Did they go that way? Cool, man.
Where's she go?
Karula or Shadow and Tingana?
This is just Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow and Tingana were going towards Knobthorne Open. Karula?
You said that tracks.
Crossing this way. Okay, I've been on Western Channel. I'm going to check with with Herbert now. Okay, I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah, and there were Dutch here last night as well, but I don't know where they've gone.
How many?
3. Chased all the ingwe up the trees. Alright. Thanks, man. Enjoy. Cheers, guys. Bye. Cute. I love it when kids do that. It's the cutest thing when they're on safari. A hyena went that way. You can just see their eyes light up and a big smile all over their face. It's so cute. Desperate to share their news. I'll tell you another story about a lovely little kid that I had on safari in a moment. But for now, let's go over to James and see what else he's found for you.
There, everybody, is the tawny eagle, and the tawny eagle is sitting up above the kill site of the Nkuhuma Pride. Now, the tawny eagle is a renowned scavenger in much the same way as the batelier is a renowned scavenger. And if you find the two of them together, almost certainly there will be some kind of death on the ground. Now, we're not far from the kill, so Davey, let's move in there and see if we can't have a look-see. Herbert was in here. I'm not sure if he still is. He might be relaxing with his friends, the Nkuhuma Pride. And as Dave said to me, did we know who found this kill? I mean, it really is right in the middle of a block. And it was indeed our very own Herbert that managed to find the kill. Right, here we go. Just around the corner, the smell of lion dung and rotting flesh assails the nostrils. It's not very nice, is it, David? It is quite unpleasant. Ah, the first sign of the lions, of course, is Herbert relaxing with his friends. He says we're going the wrong way. We need to go around here. I will tell you a story about a man that Herbert and I both know. Ooh. Look at that there, David. Can you see it with the camera? That, everybody, is the reason that this place stinks as badly as it does. It is a very large scat of lion, and it is the reason that a green cloud hangs over what is otherwise a very beautiful sighting. Ute yinile of Tingwanyan, Tinsongwan. Oh, okay. Alright. Inkomu heavy. Just saying you can hear. Oh yeah. He's just saying, oh look. How there's some impala alarm calling around the jackalberry tree. Let's just stop here and get a quick view. I'm just wondering if they are not going to go into the drainage line. Look at this little thing. It's too sweet, that one. That little cub on the ground, lying regally. I hate to say it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Lying regally like Simba of the Lion King. The others are down in the drainage. You might be able to hear them. Here comes an older cub from the right-hand side. having just had some breakfast of rotting buffalo. Now its voice is already getting deeper, you know. Now let's try and get the sex of that one. They're almost roaring. I mean, not quite, but... Look, look, look. Yeah, if I think come round, yeah, you can see where I am. Come round here. There are some in the open here, others down in the drainage. Sorry, Davey. My head was in the way there, everybody. I do apologise. I was just on the radio. I'm just going to see how far up I can sit. David, will you just slap me on the back of the head if I get in your way?
I shall.
Thank you. Not very hard, just semi-hard. Sorry. There we are. Now, that one, I want to try and get an idea of what sex they all are. As far as we understand, well, we know for the 3 littlest ones, 2 males, 1 female. We think for the 3 oldest ones, 2 females, 1 male, and we think the 2 middle ones, both females. Here comes one more from the side there, Dave. Yep, you got him. Very grubby little fellow. Bits of rotting buffalo there on the muzzle. Very sweet. I don't know who else. There might be 1 or 2 more at the kill. She's calling. I don't know if you heard that. Calling the youngster back. Oh. Look at that playing.
Okay, thanks. I'll go in and have a look, see.
Yeah, we here just went into the planet and we don't know if that will come out.
Listen, that's a young lioness, everyone. I just noticed that. She's calling the others. We're going to wait here for a little while, see if they don't pop down with her. Otherwise, we will try and effect some sort of maneuver into the drainage line, but that is going to require some driving and perhaps ropes. Okay. Alright, everybody, I would remove your dentures now. Take the coffee that's on your lap, put it aside, or take a last sip. Here we go, Dave. I can just see the kill there. There's just a few ribs left. I don't think we're even going to bother to have a look. So let's look down here. We did get into this drainage around that way a little bit earlier. Okay, I can see the lioness. Sorry, we'll just see if we can have a look at the lioness. I just want to see where they're going. I think they're all going to relax down there, you know. I can see the other cubs. Alright, let's try and get down there. It's not going to be easy. I think while we do that, let's head across to Jamie and see what she's doing, and I'll try and find you again at the bottom of the drainage line.
As James negotiates a tricky spot, I'm just seeing a harrier hawk alerted to the presence by the calls of the go-away birds, but I think it has disappeared off a little bit further. So for those of you who are, there's the go-away bird at the top of the tree there. Those of you who are familiar with harrier hawks, you'll know that they're one of my favourite birds. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Confusion there for a second. Oh, greeting a companion that has just fluttered in to join it. The go-away birds making their quack sounds alerted us to the presence of that harrier hawk, or a gymnogene, which is, I still think gymnogene is a better name. It just sounds cooler. That's the old name for the African harrier hawk. I don't see where that's gone though. I think that the go-away birds have scared it away. Where did it go, mister? The harrier hawks are very accomplished nest raiders, and as a result, all birds, including the go-away birds, the hornbills, the rollers, they all react very, very strongly whenever there is one around, mobbing it, fluttering around, trying to scare it away from their nests. Let's go and see if it's maybe a little bit further to the north. All the alarm calls have died down, which makes me think that it's decided to flutter off and try somewhere different. Let's just continue on a little bit. I've just been reflecting with Brian as to how lucky we've been over the last few days. Our animals have really pulled out all the stops, and we've had the most phenomenal sightings. It feels as though we've just been overwhelmed with the choice of the different things that we've had a chance to see. Been absolutely phenomenal. Just an update, I've been chatting to Herbert, I'm not sure whether or not James has told you, but Karula crossed south into Little Gowrie with 2 sets of cub tracks accompanying her, so everybody can take a deep sigh of relief, deep breath, and she is fine, her little ones are fine. They survived the night and the drama that unfolded in the darkness. And the wild dogs, I don't know where the wild dogs have gone, but Karula is safe and sound. Herbert thinks she made a kill. He could hear the impala sounding very, very cross on the Little Gowrie side. So that's south of our boundary. So the female leopard that we were talking about earlier, she is fine and well with her 2 little ones. Oh, hello. Oh yes, I was going to tell you a lovely story about a child on safari. Now, as you know, while we approach these Ellies that are just in front of us, zebra are quite interesting in terms of their digestive process, in that they produce a great deal of gas, which in turn makes them quite flatulent. And I had a little 12-year-old boy. He was gorgeous. He was such a sweet little kid on safari. He was so interested in everything, and he wanted to jump off the vehicle and touch everything and explore. Anyway, we took him and we saw some zebra, and they got a fright and they trotted away with the usual expulsion of gases as they went along. And we pulled up next to another vehicle, and before I even had a chance to greet the guide, this little boy pipes up, "We saw a zebra, and it farted so much, it was amazing." It was so cute. The happiest little boy I've ever seen. We made his day, or the zebra made his day. The zebra made that little boy's day. Hello, girl. Okay, so the female's giving us a little bit of a sign there. Hello, my girl. Short-trunked Ellie, but that is our lovely short-trunked elephant herd. For some reason I thought she was larger. This looked like a younger one, but it is her, with her gorgeous little female calf. So the reason I stopped here where I did was just because she was giving us the slightest sign of discomfort. And that's because she's looking after little one, making sure that it's protected. Hello, baby girl. This is my favorite elephant cow. I don't know why, there's just something so special about her and her little family. She's missing a third of her trunk. We think was probably a snare at some point. Oh, hello guys. There's a bull that's decided to join them. Apparently this is the elephant herd that was chasing the lions yesterday. You know, as if yesterday's sunset safari couldn't get any more dramatic. It's a lovely bull coming to join them. So our short-trunked elephant, and now joined by this young bull, is definitely one of our special characters. She's missing, as I said, the third of her trunk, old injury, and it probably resulted in her separation from the rest of the herd. But she's formed her own little family, either with a younger sister or with her oldest daughter, a young male calf, and then her new little female. And she disappeared for a while, and then returned with a tiny, tiny baby. Her little one's now, she must be about 8 months old or so now. Hey, look at you, munching away on solid foods. She's definitely grown considerably since we first saw her, but still utterly adorable. And definitely a cheeky little thing. She once came over to us and almost touched the car, which is not something we allow. And while we settle in for a lovely elephant sighting in the morning light, let's go across to James and his mobile lions.
The lions have now disappeared, everybody. They're just going up east. We got into this drainage line through some fairly serious manoeuvring, and then the lions have now decided that they're going towards the Gowrie cut line. So they're giving us the slip slightly, but we will persist and head with them. One of them is going north. Let's just go a little bit forward. I was really hoping that we'd have them in this glade down here playing gently, but they seem now to be moving off in that direction there through the very thick trees. We'll just turn off because you can actually just see them and hear them. You'll hear the little ones moving there. There. Amazing sighting, David. It's such a lovely place to sit this, in amongst the trees. Alright everybody, we're going to try and make our way up there. I'm going to suggest quite strongly that we go back across to Jamie. Let's just see if she's ready to take us. I think let's go back to her because I think it's going to be a little bit hairy getting up there. We'll hopefully see you with a relatively relaxed sighting shortly.
As James tackles his tricky driving, we're still with our lovely little elephant. Isn't she just too gorgeous? Something we always comment on, but just watching a baby elephant learn to coordinate its trunk is a fascinating experience. They haven't quite got the technique down just yet, and it's always a thoroughly entertaining moment as they twist and turn and copy the adult's behavior. Yeah, I want that leaf. There we go, well done. Reaching forward to pluck away. Now, speaking of our lovely girl with her short trunk, Michael wanted to know how long it would take for a snared trunk to fall off, and would the herd have waited for her. It's difficult to say, and it's something that's very, very sad. It wouldn't have happened here in the Sabi Sand because, of course, the fences are regularly patrolled, but these elephants can roam all the way towards Mozambique, and she could have been snared anywhere along there. So a snare is a metal loop of wire that is put out by desperate people looking to catch bushmeat, essentially, so antelope and so on, to supplement their diet. But unfortunately, it has unintended victims as well, including elephants like this one. I don't know how long it would take. It can take anything from... If the elephant is really truly stuck, she probably would have died. But what will often happen is they will wrench the snare free and then walk around with it wrapped around their trunk. And the herd will wait and will be very, very distressed initially, but then will eventually have to make the difficult decision to move off. And I think you'll probably find that she did stay with the rest of her herd. She probably pulled the snare free, but I mean, this is pure supposition here. And she then just was slower than them in terms of her ability to feed with her injured trunk. It can take anything from a couple of days for a couple of weeks, depending on how bad the snare injury is. It's something terribly distressing to see, and if we had, let's say for example, we had encountered her with that snare on her trunk while we were doing these live safaris, that would be an example of where we would interfere and we would try and help her. It would be difficult if she had calves with her, but we would do it because it's human interference, it's human impact that has caused that injury to that animal. And we dart her, pull. Oh, goodness gracious. The bull muscling in and shoving the young male around, wanting to come and feed where he is, and he was the one making that squealing sound of indignation there. And the cow taking it all calmly in her stride, not terribly bothered. Oh, big girl. Yes, yes. It's all good. I'm not going to do anything, don't worry. Little one. No, don't come be cheeky. Don't come be cheeky. Yes, stay with your mum. With your mouthful of grass. So that little head shake that we saw from the female there, and then the response from the calf as well, imitating mom, that was not an aggressive movement, really. I wouldn't define it as aggressive. What she was basically doing was saying, I'm watching you, I'm bigger than you, make sure that you behave yourself around my little family. So often people get a fright when elephants do that, especially in the Kruger, where inexperienced people drive around and they go zooming away from an elephant that's done that, and that's not a good lesson either, because then you've turned your engine on and you've basically provoked the animal, rather than just sitting still and silent and letting them know through your body language that you don't intend them any harm. And dust flying around now as the poor elephants struggle to find roots and other things with nutrition. Oh, here's the big bull. This is submissive behavior. Look at that. That early bull might decide to come up and be cheeky. He's just at that right age where they think that they're very big and intimidating and scary. Hello, boy. Yes, I'm talking about you. Oh, yes, very scary. Oh, yes. Oh, head shakes all around. Yes, that's now your position. Now the big bull has come in and shifted the younger one away and has taken over his digging spot. And speaking of the way that elephants use their feet, Michael wanted to know whether or not I've ever noticed if they favor one foot over the other. Oh, sorry, not Michael, it was William in Oregon. My apologies, William. It was a lovely question from you because, of course, elephants favor one tusk over another when they're basically like right or left-handed people. So it stands to reason, just like sports stars and all humans with dominant legs, that elephants would use one leg over the other. I've never noticed it before, though. It's something I'll keep an eye out for. To the best of my knowledge, I've only ever seen elephants use both feet when they're digging like that. But it could well be that they use one more than the other. You might even find, if you looked really closely, if you spent a considerable time examining one individual, you might even see that one set of toenails is slightly more worn down than the other. But I mean, so far this bull has used both his right front and his left front foot. It's a lovely question, though. This is why I love questions coming through on these live safaris, because they make me think about things that I wouldn't necessarily have thought about before. My favorite one was, do buffalo always chew in one direction? Which, of course, the answer was no. It was what I think we concluded. But still a lovely way of looking at things. The Ellies are right in the sun. Unfortunately, I can't do much in the way of repositioning just yet, because, of course, they're all around us. It's a tricky movement happening there. And that branch proving to be a particularly tricky customer. Little one, of course, with the full trunk, so she has to learn to master it, right down to the dexterous and nimble finger-like projections at the end. We do have a question about our snared elephant and how long it would take for her to regain the use of her, or the dexterity of her trunk. So Yati Buddy, I think I've got your name right. My apologies if I have butchered it in some way. I can't give you an exact answer, because of course we haven't had a chance to observe it, and it would be different for each elephant and each injury. But you'd probably find that she'd have to regain it very quickly, because it's essential to her feeding process. It's amazing how adaptable these creatures are. We saw one particular bull elephant with half a trunk, less than half a trunk actually, digging up grass and then bending his whole body forward in order to pick up the grass with his much shortened trunk. It's sad to see, yet at the same time, it's also very special the way that they respond and the way that they are able to cope with stuff like that. And our elephant is perfectly healthy. She's obviously had several healthy little babies. Shame that elephant at the back's got a sore eye. It's streaming, which we see at the moment, we see quite regularly. There you go, you can see all the liquid running from it. Just because it is so dusty at the moment and dry, a lot of the elephants have got watery eyes as a result. See that wax build up in the corner, that white stuff? That's all just to try and protect the sensitive eye from the sort of harsh effects of the dust. And we know all about that because we experience it on a regular basis, so we sympathize with them, as does the camera experience that on a regular basis. Our beautiful, peaceful elephant herd is slowly but surely moving away from us. Luckily for us, James has managed, with all of that tricky driving, to stick with the Nkuhumas, so let's go across and see what's happening there.
Hello everybody, here we are with the wonderful Nkuhuma cubs, and we managed to push out of what can only be described as the windy impenetrable forest, and here we are with these little cubs. And the whole pride, well in fact no, the two lionesses missing. One of them, which we saw, Amber Eyes, I think was stalking some buffalo bulls. And I think they're going to go back into the drainage now, where it's a bit shadier. I ain't going back in there though, I'm afraid. So well, let's enjoy them now while we have them. All 8 little cubbies. I don't know if you can hear them when they're lying down going, oh. I think they were very happy just lying here in the sun. Now Mum's trying to move again. That's really rather sweet, and the light is so very beautiful. We see, I can't really hear you. Do you want to try that again? Sorry David, let me move slightly for you, but I think they are going to disappear now, everyone. Hello Ellen in Arkansas, you're wondering about the wild dogs that were seen yesterday and how far away these lion cubs were from them. Ellen, a good sort of probably 2 miles, so no, they weren't in any danger at all from the dogs. They were a long way away, and dogs will think twice about having a go at lion cubs because they're not big enough to intimidate the adults. They're absolutely big enough to intimidate, as you saw yesterday, to intimidate the leopard adults, but not lion adults. It just simply wouldn't be possible for them to do that. So even if they saw lion cubs, unless they were very sure the adults weren't around, they'd leave them be. So the one female there are taking them all down into the drainage while the other two sit by. It's all rather sweet, I must say. Hello, Beginner Plox. What a lovely name that is. I'm not sure what it means. Beginner Plox. You say, how many litter mates are there normally? Well, the average litter is probably 3. 4 is not uncommon. 5 very unusual. 6 extremely unusual. So it would be 3 or 4, which is 1 more than the average of a leopard, which would be 2 or 3 normally. But up to 6. I believe there have been up to 8 born, but I mean that's extremely unusual. And these ones, 3, 2 and 3. The one with 2, I'm not sure if maybe they lost one perhaps. And here goes Mum, another Mum, straight back towards where David and I managed to blast out of. Poor Rusty. Well, at least we had a lovely sighting of them in the early sun, glistening off their fur. We will go and stick our heads over the top there, but let's just wait and enjoy this very quiet movement. We'll get a last view of her there. There we are. Alright, well we'll go and put our noses over the edge there, everyone. And while we're doing that, let's head back to Jamie and her elephants.
Sounds as though those lions have been keeping James particularly busy this morning. Bride and myself have had a much easier time for now with our elephants, although they're also going to slowly disappear off. Most of the family is now moving into thicker vegetation, finding themselves a good place to eat. And the others, there's still 2 males that have stopped us from repositioning right in front of us in the road and sort of straight into the sun. I'm having to blink and squint carefully at them, keeping an eye on whatever they're up to. Beautiful young male. He's just at that point, he's got a lovely set of quite large tusks for his age, at least for his height. He's just at that age where he's starting to feel a bit more confident in himself. He's been on his own for a few years, maybe joined a few bachelor herds. And now hormones telling him that it might be time to check out some of the lovely ladies around the area. A bird making a terrible racket, but I can't see where it is or what it was. It was squealing. And speaking of hormones and our elephant bull as he wanders across to catch up with the ladies, Shamsun, not while I've been at Safari Live, so Shamsun's question is, have we ever seen elephants mating? We've had a couple of near misses, if I could put it like that. Oh, little one rushing forward. What you doing with my mum? What you doing? Mom, where are you? Oh, look at that. Don't get in between, little one. Oh, cute. Protectively putting itself between Mom and that male. He went up to sniff her temporal gland. Sorry, Shamsun, I'll get back to you in 1 second. He went up to place his trunk across the forehead of the female, which is a standard elephant greeting, not aggressive or upsetting for them in any way. Let me just go shuffle forward ever so slightly, now that he is there. And basically allows them to gauge the mood of the elephant that they've gone up to greet. And she's moved off and he's decided to take her place. and they're all being terribly awkward in terms of their positioning behind the trees. So Shamsun, sorry. I have not seen elephants mating on Safari Live. Have you ever filmed it? No, Brian hasn't ever filmed. It's actually quite rare to see. It's a very quick process. It's a very noisy process that involves most of the herd, because the female in estrus runs around advertising and making a terrible noise about the whole thing, and the male chases her around for a considerable period of time. So it's very dramatic, but it's also very quick, because the female can often be half, if not more than half, the size of the male, and she has to bear the weight of him on her pelvis. So it's a short, not a protracted affair. Very, very quick. We've seen a few mock mountings, basically where males sort of mount each other in a display of dominance. We've seen that with elephant, giraffe, lots of different creatures. But for those of you who've been watching longer than I've been working here, have you ever seen... Excuse me, Drongos, I'm talking. Have you ever seen elephants mating on Safari Live? I can't think of a time while I've been working here, but I'm sure there's a good chance it has happened. And just let me know if you've ever seen elephants mating before on Safari Live. The next question, of course, Shamsun, is when are we going to film a live elephant birth? Because that would be truly spectacular. Law of averages, we spend 6 hours a day out here every single day, more actually, because we're usually out before the start of the sunrise and the sunset safari. At some point, we should film an elephant giving birth. That is my dream. I have never seen it in the wild. I've seen videos of it, and I have come very close to seeing it, but I have yet to see it in the wild, and that's something that I would love to witness. Apparently it is truly extraordinary, and I can only imagine it is, with the bonds between elephant herds being what they are, and the social importance of the birth of a new calf. I can just imagine it's truly special. So there we go, we'll add that to the list of things we'd like to see. I would not mind witnessing a live elephant birth. We've had live zebra, live wildebeest, live impala. Have I missed anything out? Zebra, wildebeest, impala. I think that's it. Yeah, those are the sort of the amazing moments that we have shared with the female animals of this area. Let's go forward a bit because this little chap is having such a good scratch. And perhaps we can find us... Oh, no, never mind.